Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here, Master of the Covenant, Breaker of the Seven Seals, the Holocaust. Brothers and sisters, in a few days, you'll come face to face with the reality of your history that they're trying to make you forget. You're still suffering the consequences of it. The Holocaust, they're desperately trying to sweep it under the rug, delete the evidence, whatever they can, because they know what you don't know, that they're in judgment right now. They're in judgment. They knew that in 2020 with the outbreak of COVID. They knew the prophecy. All of a sudden, you start hearing about CRT 1619, but you didn't know what that meant. See, because 1619 was the beginning of our enslavement. We arrived here in 1555, but it took 64 years to convert us into Negro butts, programmed to self-destruct behavior, right? Programmed to not think, programmed to not ask questions, programmed to obey master no matter what, and to love master no matter what. Programming, it was complete and certified in 1619. The first Negro bus came off the assembly line, right? Alfred Richardson. See? Jamie Washington. See? Martha Jefferson. See? Brands. And they told you they were names. But when you got to the plantation, all the slaves were named Washington, but they weren't your relatives. But you didn't know what that meant because you didn't have any vocabulary to think with. You didn't have any vocabulary to be rational with because you need mathematics for that, the logic. So it didn't matter to you. All you know is when master called you, you come running. Your language is very limited. Because the less language you have, the less vocabulary you have, the less ability to think you have. No vocabulary, no thinking. No thinking. No, it's even difficult to remember because all you remember is pictures. See? No rationale, no logic. It took all that from you, reduced you to beasts, literally. It says in Daniel was reduced to beasts. It tells you in Daniel was reduced to beasts. They reduced us to beasts. See, until Suleiman will come and pluck the wing, the eagle off your back and make you stand up and give you your mind back. That's when the process of making it happen now. But they went further, the Holocaust. They went much further. See, then enslavement, slavery is economic. So economic, so slaves all over the world. Well, that was not quite true either. Because they don't have any history of one nation enslaving another prior to them. Have history of that. You don't have a history of China enslaving India, India enslaving China, or Africa enslaving anyone. You had no history of that before them. Everybody was in their own place, their own land. And if any people ran afoul, then the most significant punishment was exile. That's what happened to the so-called Native Americans. There was exile from India. It was difficult to get along with. They became very difficult, right? And mindless, if you will. And so it was exile. They didn't murder and kill people. They didn't enslave people. They didn't enslave them. They just exiled them over here. Freedom, just freedom away from them. We believe in freedom for everyone. They come to these constitutions like this is the first time anybody had an idea. Equal rights and we believe all men created equal. There was a lie when they said that. But the Holocaust, brothers and sisters, see, it was horrific. It is horrific. It's still going on. And the worst is yet to come. The worst of the Holocaust is not over, brothers and sisters. It says a time of unprecedented trouble. That was like a training session of Holocaust for what you're about to experience if you don't wake up and get your ass out of here. See? That's what we're trying to get you. It says, at that time, a time of unprecedented trouble, that's when Michael will deliver us, Master Muhammad. Because you don't want to be in raging ruins of hell. See? Will kindle hell. It'll be hell in America. Hell worse than the Holocaust. Wholesale cannibalism. See? Oh, they was cannibals in the heart. They ate us because we were animals. It was one of their delicacies. See? Nigger steak. Nigger barbecue. See? The Holocaust. You can easily look and see. They have a whole Oprah. You know, I'm not her fan. She's a demon. But she did do one thing. She published this thing about the slave letters. People that was endured slavery before they passed away did their testimony. And they tell you that they fed them shit. They fed them like pigs in trials. It wasn't like you saw in Django, they walk around and eat and they swing on swings and stuff. No, you was not only treated as an animal, you was the animal in their eyes. It's different between treated like something and being thought of being something. So in other words, they could think of you as an animal, that's one thing. They can treat you as an animal, that's another thing. Because I mean, treat you as an animal, that means they're doing 24/7. That means they're doing sometime, maybe whatever. But if they think of you as an animal, that means that's consistent treatment. Once they consider you an animal, then that's the way they deal with you as an animal. And that's the way they deal with us. Holocaust brothers and sisters, they want you to forget. They want you to forgive them. Christianity, they want you to forgive them. Because they know God's coming. And he's not forgiving. Okay? Consequence. God's not mocked. There's consequence for everything. Reap what you sow. If these people were able to get away with what they did, God would have no credibility. Who would pay attention? No consequence would not go away. But nobody would have any confidence in it. Right? You say God's a just God. He'll only be just if he's just all the time, 100%, 24/7, 365, forever. So we're going to talk about energy dynamics. That's our subject today, energy dynamics, brothers and sisters. Energy dynamics. I'm going to try to give a more in-depth explanation of energy, how it applies to energy deprivation, and how it applies now and going forth in the future. Because you need to know how energy works, how to manage it, right? The nature of it. Because in essence, that's knowledge of self. Energy is everything. Everything is energy. They try to say they make a distinction between matter and energy, but then their science came along. Einstein told, well, it's pretty much the same thing. E equals mc squared. He made an equation connect energy and mass and matter, because matter is just energy. Everything is energy. Energy is mathematics. That's what energy is, mathematics. Energy is pure mathematics. It's just how it's just that simple. It doesn't act like mathematics. It is mathematics. Let's talk about energy deprivation here. Energy dynamics, I mean. Energy dynamics. We're going to talk about a couple of topics, but energy dynamics is a primary topic here. Now, I'm going to talk about this in passing, right? The struggle of the Black nations. Now, I'm not sure if I was clear enough about that. See, because 30 years ago, I wrote this when I broke the seals, and this is one of the first things I discovered. I mean, it was kind of, we had to dig in it to find it, and I was somewhat surprised, right? Because Elijah Muhammad didn't necessarily put it that way, because he talked about War of Armageddon, but that was pretty much as far as we went with him as far as War of Armageddon. But he didn't understand the angel, so we don't take that from him. See, he spoke basically how he understood things. See, because it talks about this latter-day war. It talks about the struggle of the nations, and said the final struggle would be between the nations, two nations. Because in the lessons it tells us, well, we're like one out of Africa, right? But Elijah Muhammad did make this. They did make a distinction. But they said we were the tribe of Shabazz and we moved into Africa. But there was people already there. That wasn't our tribe. But we're all Africans, because Arabia is Africa, it's North Africa. We're all Africans, right? But we're not the same tribe. Because if there was only one tribe, then why would you have to say the tribe of Shabazz? Well, he did say there was people there. We was forced into Africa. Dr. Shabazz went to Africa and started his, implement his plan, right? For our redemption, for our struggle, right? For the Holocaust and beyond. So what I discovered is that there'll be a war between the tribe of Shabazz and the tribe of Levi. That'll be the final war. And they talk about this one personality. At that time, I did not know who that personality was, but I knew the attributes. I knew what to expect. I knew he'd be a black person from Africa, right? And he'd be in charge of America. So by default, must mean he'd be a president. Because Elijah Muhammad did say this. Most people claim they don't remember, they don't know, but I was there. He said that the last president of the United States be a black man. Now, I ran afoul of that to some extent because it didn't say that in AL-INJIL. I mean, it speaks to that, but doesn't say that. And I didn't see that, but because Elijah Muhammad said it, I went with it, right? Because it does say, but it's one of those things in the AL-INJIL where it's like a fork in the road. You go this way or that way. See, and it's talking about Nineveh. If it repent, then it wouldn't happen to it. And this is a struggle that Jonah had because he didn't want to repent. But if you read the story in Daniel about Belshazzar, see, it says Darius, who was master of Muhammad, destroyed him, took down Babylon, right, while he was king. And Belshazzar would be that king. He'd be the last king. He'd be an African king of Babylon. Because if you study that key in Daniel, right, he's the kingdom that came after Nebuchadnezzar would be the African kingdom, and he would be in charge of Babylon when Babylon was taken down. See? And then you go to the story of Joseph, and Joseph says, no, the king after them would be, so it's like, it goes this way or that way. Right? So anyway, that's another story. I don't want to go too deep into that. Anyway, he would be, bottom line, he would be a president of the United States. See? So when he showed up, I knew who he was. He had Mr. Farrakhan. He's the, besides, he was deceived by him. If you read chapter 17, it said those who deceived by him, what the names were not in the Lamb's Book of Life, because you don't know who he is. He's that eighth angel, that's of the seven, right? It says he's the eighth, but of the seven. You understand what that means. I broke it down. I'm not going to break it down again here. Presentation explaining it. But you know what I mean? But that's him. That's Obama. He's the one riding that white horse in the seals, right? So went out conquering the colonies. He had 2 conquests to make. And not heard the last of him. But anyway, he's the Lord, right, of the Levi nation. Okay. Now, a couple of points I want to make. I didn't explain this other day, right? But see, at the time that Dr. Shabazz took the tribe of Africa, only the very elite, the scientists, Allah himself, Dr. Shabazz, only had features like we have now, like, because those are dominant features. You have to understand, those are dominant genes. Because people think, well, he created those genes by doing a no, he has brought those genes out. He emphasized them. They had to be there already. And it means some people had that trait already. And since they're dominant, that means the most dominant people, the wisest people, the strongest people had those traits. I've been a scientist and Allah himself. That's why it says, let's make man our image and our likeness. Not talking about Adam. I broke that down several times. I broke down several years. I broke down many times over the years, right? But that's not talking about Adam. It's talking about that happens on the 6th day, the 500 years of the 6th day, the 500-year period. That's us. Happened to us. right? Because it says they're going to take and make his people, his tribe, because most of the tribe was like we see Ethiopians and the Somalis and everything. But I said like we had hair like that, and we look like that, various features, right? And most of the tribe looked like that, except the very exceptional that had the very very special genes, very strong dominant genes, right? So he started his process, right? Because scientists didn't agree with him. They did not agree with him. See, they just they didn't agree with his process or what he wanted to do. So as a consequence, the tribe of Hindi forced him out of Africa. That's the Ishmael. They forced him out of Arabia into Africa. Who was guest into, if you will, Southern Africa. Because Arabia is Northern Africa. We was guests there, and we lived on the northwest coast, primarily the northwest coast, but on the west coast mostly. But the major primarily on the northwest. I mean, I'm called like Morocco, a place like that, right? Where Moors come from, right? Anyway, so we settled there. It was no problem. We was guests. We were trying to take over the country. So Dr. Shabazz started his process of emphasizing that dominant gene. Because he wanted to make us all to gods. He wanted to transform us angels into gods. He wanted all the whole nations tried to be just gods like. Since we got to go through this process, he says, since we got to go through this process in deprivation that all the science agreed was going to go through it 50,000 years ago, then we might as well take advantage of it. It's only a moment in time. A moment in time, right? 76 trillion years, a moment in time. Actually, 52 years, 152 trillion years altogether, go to a complete cycle. From beginning to end to back to again, that's a complete cycle. That's twice 76 trillion years, which would be 152 years, 152 trillion years, complete cycle. And it's only a moment. 50,000 years, only a moment in that time. And 600 years, 500 years, like, see, but we had to go through it. We wouldn't have to go through it if we wasn't gods, because we need so much energy. We're such complex beings, but energy, and so we suffer energy deprivation when we get to the universe is at maximum extension, all the energy is out there, and so the best of us will suffer the most. And that's why I said Jesus, he suffered more than anybody because he was the best. He would suffer more energy deprivation than anybody else. That's why Master Muhammad had to be made as he made, so he would not suffer energy deprivation, right? They call it circumcision. Spiritually means get rid of that blackness, so he would have a discipline, but not suffer the energy deprivation we had to suffer having the superior bodies. That's part of the reason why. That was the primary reason. They say, well, so you can come over here and not be discovered by white people. That was a side benefit. But the main reason was he would not suffer energy deprivation because he needed to be the God of his period, right? See? And so he had stepped forward, and he's one of the major scientists. Some people say 24 scientists, but he's one of the major scientists, right? That's what's going on with that. And we're going to talk about that in a little more detail. But as we was going through this process, as people, a lot of Levites start understanding what he was doing, they said, all right, we want to be a part of that because them thinking, well, yeah, if they come out, they're gods, man, we still angels, they're going to be even more powerful than us. And the wiser ones said, no, man, we going with them. So that's where the prophets came from. So they joined on to us. We didn't ask them. They joined on to us, right? See? And the Lord of the Levites, he didn't like that because he said, man, what? He's going to convert our whole country, going to take over. Now he's down here as a guest. He's from Arabia. Now he's got his own tribe, and he's going to convert a whole tribe. That caused a problem. I'm not going into details about it. See? But as that process started, see, some came later in the process. Some got full advantage of the process. Because at that time, right, he was emphasizing that dominant gene, which is responsible primarily for spatial thinking too. Yaqub did the opposite. See, he diminished that, right? And he emphasized the inferior genes, right? He emphasized those, right? The recessive genes, right? And those respond for the analytical side of the brain. So as a result, right, you have a being, a resulting being would be almost totally spatial as a result of Dr. Shabaz's process. That's the creator. See, when you say be and it is, the creator is the be. The technician is the bring it into existence. Be and it is. You got two stages there. So now you got in one being, it used to be one being, but now it's two beings because the spatial people would say, they say be, and technical people would say it is. And like Master Muhammad, see, he's mostly technical. He's a technical genius, technical God. But says Suleiman would be a spatial God, spatial genius, right? That's why he gave him a book that only spatial, to prove it, only spatial mind could unravel, and he's the only one that could do it. And Master Hunt proved, because he got a technical marvel up there nobody could touch. And these people, these devils, they are very technical, but they can't touch it. So he shows he's a technical God, and Suleiman is a spatial one. Okay? But then you got the Lord of Levi, right? He didn't go that process. See, but he coordinates, he's a coordinator between two. He's spatial, he ambidextrous. Half spatial, half tech. That makes him a politician because you have to relate both of them to it. So he's a genius. He would be a genius politician. I knew that about him too. And this person would be a genius politician, right? He'd be president of the United States. He'd be African. He'd be like fraud, right? His mother would be white. His father would be. And Obama he didn't surprise me. No, I mean I didn't know what his name would be, but he fit the bill 100%. Tailor-made. Everything he said about him. He's a political genius. Because nobody figured how he was able to do what he was able to do and stay at 2 times, right? And they still love him. Most of you still stuck with him too. And it says if you understand chapter 7, those that love him, worship and everything, so his name is not in the book of life. He's deceived by them because he's a politician. He's right? Anyway, I'm not deceived by him. I saw him coming. Okay. So the thing is, like, as Dr. Shabaz's process went on, right? As time went on, right? People came in. Remember, as they came in, they didn't get full benefit of the process because they came in later in the process, right? Some 10,000 years later, some 5,000 years later, some 100 years later, whatever, right? So they didn't get full benefit, but they got some benefit. Some of them, like you say, some of them, like you said, all of us, we got a nap here. Some of us one nap and the others or whatever, right? But they came a part of us. See? That's why when you look in so-called in our enslavement, Holocaust, right? I don't recall ever seeing any blacks born over here that look like Somalis and Ethiopians and had the curly hair, the long straight hair. I've never mentioned any. I mean, they haven't moved anything. Because see, they didn't take part. Plus, they wasn't on the West Coast. They was like the Ethiopians. They was like in like central, north central. And Somalis was like on the East Coast. They didn't get to them. So we was all the ones on the West Coast. So I thought I'd point that out, right? They are brothers. But now there's animosity between us. The prophets came out of there. At least 3 of the prophets came out of there. We had some issues with that, right? And Lucifer, he's the main one. That's the one that you call Obama. Oh, wow. I know it's turned out well. They've been laughing about everything I've been saying for the last 30 years. You know, people been laughing at me for the last 30 years, and now who's having the last laugh? Because what you was laughing about is right in front of your face right now. It's all over you. But I've been talking to some people lately. I mean, I'd be surprised. I mean, you might be surprised. I saw people that's intelligent, supposed to have degrees and stuff about some of these things what's going on right now. And they haven't a clue, didn't know. And I mean, you say, that's what I said. Eye in the storm, brothers and sisters. They got people in eye in the storm. They have no idea what's going on. Some didn't know there was a war in Russia. Some didn't know, right? I mean, there's a war in Ukraine and Russia, right? They didn't know about this thing about Jamie Dimon saying a hurricane's come to America, the financial collapse coming. You know, they knew about oil prices. They said, man, it was expensive, but they didn't know what's causing anything. And we're going to remedy that. But anyway, it says last struggle of the black, because in other words, in the end, see, everybody out there is our enemy. I try to explain that. You have no friends, brothers and sisters. Only friend you got, the tribe of Shabazz, is Master Muhammad. He's part of the tribe of Shabazz. That's the only friend you really got. Now you got the prophets out there. We're looking at them. See, because we got some curiosity about them, right? See? But they have a great work waiting for them, and they still stand up, step up to it. But then they might want to be loyal to their God, their Lord. I mean, you can understand that, right? I mean, we expect our people to be loyal to our God, Master Muhammad, right? So they might want to be loyal to Lucifer. They might want to go with it. See? We have, see? But we don't call them traitors because this probably been going for a long time. If they would just jumped up right now and say, hey, I want to, I wouldn't want them. Because if you're going to betray your own people, you're going to betray us too. See? But they've been a part of this process for 50,000 years, so that's a different story altogether, right? They're not betraying, right? They said they took it, right? Decided they want to go this path. Okay, so we see what happens. But they don't have such a good track record. I'm going to leave that one alone for a while. Okay, that's struggling. So the last struggle, that's the latter war after we return. See, because they think that's going to happen in a few minutes, that it's Gog and Magog and kind of stuff, right? And they think Gog is Russia, and they're going to attack. The whole story doesn't make sense because it says, when we home in peace, and this book says, when we return to not those small little Palestinian town, but to Greater Arabia, which false Israel hasn't done that. And it says, once we return in peace. They have returned in peace. They have one day of peace since they've been there. And it said, we return in peace, there'll be no walls. They got walls all over the place. So they ain't talking about them. See? It would be in peace, but the whole world would be in total turmoil, whole world be in chaos, time unprecedented trouble. But we would be at peace. We hear the faint sound of raging waters of heaven. So it's be in a fortress. Matter of Muhammad's plane, something in a fortress. We hear the faintest sound of raging roaring of hell. I want to be protected, safe, and peaceful for anything. But the whole world be in turmoil, time unprecedented trouble, starvation, war, killing, right? Especially Europeans, they get going down for the last count. They're going to fight to the end, some of them. See? And then it says that it'll be that's China, India, and Africa, non-Islamic Africa under control of Lucifer, Obama. See? It says, that's the one that says they'll be together. Because it was two beasts, remember? One beast had 7 heads and 10 horns, just like the dragon. Was crowns upon his horns. Read chapter 13 says the dragon gave his authority. That's the crowns to that beast, because that means that Europeans, because the crowns on the heads, that was Europeans had control. Now they tear themselves apart. Control shift to the other beast. Has 7 heads and 10 horns, and the crowns upon the horn. Authority shifts to them. That's China, India, which they're going to rise out. They're going to rise up, right? As a result of European armed war getting them tear themselves apart. They'll rise up. Now they're going to be the superpowers. They'll be reckoned with. But it said be another beast who has 7 heads and 10 horns also. He had no crowns on his horns or his heads. But he should be alongside the beast that has 7 heads, 10 horns, and crowns upon his horn. That means China, India. That means that's non-Islamic Africa. That's Obama. Because, I mean, he's all over the place. He's that serpent that convinced Eve, America, right, to take us out. We're the tree. And they said, if you consume it, you would die. Means if you consume it, take it out of existence. If you kill it, that's what they're talking about. And he said, no, don't you go ahead and do it. No, it's all together, brothers and sisters. But you're going to find out. So that's one of the, that's one of the, wasn't, that's one of the, how you want to call it? Occupational hazards, right? Of being prophesizing. Because everybody thinks you're a fool when you start, because they can't see it. And then they think you a miracle worker when right? As they gargle their last gargle, as they're drowning, because they didn't get on that ark. They didn't recognize who you are. But too late. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move on. That's the last. Says when that says after this war's over, after China, India, and non-Islamic Africa divided in 2 parts. It's not going to be all broken up like this in a few days. See, it's going to divide in 2 parts: non-Islamic Africa, animist Africa. See, that's where panther stuff comes from, because they worship animals. That's what that is, animals. Mostly animals, right? Non-Islamic Africa, right? There's a whole lot of stuff about that movie too, trying to get you prepared for it. Anyway, in Islamic Africa. And non-Islamic Africa is going to be with other beasts. They're going to have control of the whole planet, except for us. Middle East. We're going to be at peace, no walls, anything, right? Suleiman, right? Preparing his people, right? Moving into new world, to new reality. Because it's going to be a period of adjustment. You can't just jump in from the, we're going to be transformed in a twinkle of an eye. We still have to get our language back. We got all these things still. It's a 50-year period of adjustment. But you're going to be benefiting. You're going to sit around suffering. You're going to be happy. You're going to be, but, we're adjusting. And Master Muhammad is right? He's the Air Force. He's the guard in the air, and Suleiman, he's on the ground force. And that's when they're going to attack us. That's the last final war. Says, all right, man, they're at peace. And we take them, we got the whole thing. That's the struggle of the nation. That's the last one. Last war is you don't know anything about, nobody's ever talked to you about. See? So it's coming. That's the book there. It's on the title, if you can read it. Struggle of Black Nation, written 30 years ago. A lot of stuff I can tell you about, bro. It's just, right? But it's only me. So I tell you a lot every day. Every day I'm telling you something new. But there's much to tell. But I need you to understand before we move on, brothers and sisters. The mind is everything. Your mind is your software. Your brain is your hardware. See? But your software determines how you're thinking. Because you can change the software, you can't change your brain. See? So if they upload Christianity on you, that software, then you're going to see the world through Christianity. That software is like putting shades on, right? You put green, everything will look green. You put blue, everything will look blue. So you be careful software they put on you. Only software you should be wearing is mathematics. That's true. It gives you a true view of reality, because that's what reality is, mathematics. If they got anything on you that's not mathematics, it's blurring your vision. It may be blinding you. It's a mind war. This whole reality you see right now came out of somebody's mind. The nuclear weapons, the guns, cars, came out of somebody's mind. If you destroy the mind, you destroy the whole reality. I try to get you to understand that. You want to go and fight with the car, you want to fight with guns and knives. So what? The reality's still there. The mind's still there. That ability, it just rebuilt it again. You got to destroy the mind itself. And then all the whole reality is gone. It crumbles, it fades. It's a mind war. We ain't worried about their nuclear weapons. It takes a mind to fire those nuclear weapons. We ain't worried about that kind of nonsense. That's why when did they send Prophet Muhammad in here with an army? They sent him in with a navy. They sent him with nuclear weapons. They sent him with sword. They ain't sent him with nothing. Empty-handed. He just had a book. How about Isa? They sent him in there with the Air Force, with the Army, the Navy SEALs. No, he came in, he had a book, and he crippled the Roman Empire. And Muhammad, right? He took control of Arabia, which was out of control. It wasn't under control. He took it. He made it. He forged it into one nation. One man couldn't even read. He couldn't even read the book he had. Well, he just had to speak the words of it. That Gabriel put it upon his heart. Say, speak, recite, recite, recite. So he just spoke what Gabriel told him to speak. See, and those pressure waves, right, was able to bring all of Arabia under control. So you understand your power. And now you have the ultimate weapon. They get an ultimate weapon for this time, the angel. And every time you go in there and break down one of those verses, break one of those stories in the Bible, you release a bomb more powerful than a nuclear bomb, because you're destroying their mind. Because their mind is based on the sealed Bible, and that's weak. See? But it was powerful enough to power, right, this reality. But it stumbles, it crumbles It kneels, it begs in front of the angel because then they can't touch it. And now you're putting those information out in the atmosphere, right? In the ether, so to speak, right? And it's happening because you see all stuff happening around you. Where's it coming from? You see the leaves shaking. There's a wind blowing. Then you try to figure out what direction, everything else. Where's all this hell that America's exposed to? It's coming since 1990. Where's it coming from? Where's the pressure? It's coming from the angel. See, because it'd be one man. Look, if America's gonna be, if this whole world's be brought down right now, has to be somebody here doing it. Not some book in the past. Somebody had to be here doing it. Somebody had to take down Arabia. It didn't just come down by itself. Somebody had to cripple the Roman Empire. It didn't come down by itself. Somebody had to be here, right, with a greater mind. Elijah Muhammad told you that. He says, Yaqu's civilization will remain in power until we produce someone, not a demon, not the devils produce someone, because Farrakhan is produced by devils. When we produce something, the tribe of Shabazz, he's not the tribe of Shabazz. His father's the devil. Just Google it. And he don't have any mind power anyway. We produce someone with greater mental, greater power, greater wisdom that will destroy Yaqu's civilization. Actually, I'm going to taught you that. Somebody has to be present to do that. And they tell you what to do it. Angel tells you. They'll break those seals that begin the destruction of this reality. And I'll make all things new. That's Master Muhammad talking. I'll make everything new because the kingdom is given to him. It be on his shoulders, right, will be the burden of the peace. It's going to be put all on his shoulders. Because Suleiman, right, he doesn't do that. He's certified. He stand back and watches, but he don't do that. Right? The only time he come out to do this is this time unprecedented trouble because our people in need. That's the only time he step forward. Because they tell you, like Mama told you, he stand in the background. Trillions of years, nobody even knew who he was except the scientists. Because he ain't looking to be worshipped. He don't consider himself divine. He's just one of your brothers. That's all he is. But y'all got this crazy idea. The man, he walk on water stuff. See how they mess you up with this software? That means we start thinking like that. You ain't going to invent anything. Go tell me think like that, how you going to invent anything? How you going to bring anything into reality thinking like that? Mine were, and we're winning. I'm winning. But if I'm winning, you're winning because I'm winning for you. That's why I'm here. I'm not here for me. I'm here for you. And it's a free gift, but nobody's going to force you to take it. It's a free gift, but nobody's going to force you to take it. Okay, energy dynamics. Now, play close to this, brothers, because first of all, you know something. I don't know if you're doing it or not. I'm not saying you have to, but if you ain't, then you should be thinking about it. Because the language in the hereafter is mathematics. Islam is mathematics, Islam. So you should start learning mathematics. Start the basic. Right now, you can go in there and learn all kinds of mathematics you want to. You spend at least half an hour a day, at least an hour a day, right? If depending on what level you're on. If you're on level of math or add subtraction, then get that down and then move to multiplication. If you got that down, move to algebra. If you got it down, move to trigonometry. You got that down, move to calculus. Move to vectors. It's all there. You need to start doing it now. Because you really can't be effective, understand what you're talking about if you don't understand mathematics. How you going to, you know, Islam is mathematics, Islam, but you don't know any mathematics. How can you because that means you may be right, but you don't know you're right. That might make you a liar, make you a deceiver. I tell people, if I don't care, if you don't know you're right, then you're a deceiver. You might be right, but if you don't know you're right, that means you're a deceiver. So start learning some mathematics, brothers, because that's the language hereafter. I mean, get a jump on it. You're going to learn it. Like Elijah Muhammad said, you're going to 20 years. You're going to go back to school for 20 years. Right? Start getting a jump on it, brothers and sisters. Not putting an extra burden on you, but I'm just, you don't have to. You don't have to. I ain't mad at you. I ain't going to beat you up. I just like a heads up, No, that's all. I taught myself mathematics. I said, look there, I says, I'm going to school, right? And the first thing the teacher pulled out a book. What the hell, I can read. Why I need her to read the book to me? I started going to the library to it myself. More rewarding too. Energy dynamics. Now, I made it simple enough where you probably would not need math to understand this, or basic math. So I'm gonna walk this kind of slowly, but this I need you to understand this because, especially those you going through tribulation period, because you're gonna need this kind of understanding. Okay, on the top there you see 9,000. Okay, that represents how much energy we're getting. No, that's not how much we're getting. I'm just giving representation. That's how much energy, right? At point in time. So in other words, you see at 10,000, that's us. So this is the 50,000 year period. So we started in energy deprivation because we need 10,000 units of energy, but we only get 9,000. That's the start in energy deprivation because you require so much energy, but you don't have as much. And we talk about how the universe has all energy that's out there used to be here, and we was ferocious beings. I mean, we was like, as it said, angel, you made me a fire, right? But now energy like this, so that we went to a period of energy deprivation. Well, we didn't have enough energy to maintain ourselves. That's energy deprivation. Energy deprivation started 50,000 years ago. It's a 50,000 year process. And now it's over, except for self-imposed energy deprivation. So I'm just going back there. I'm just getting some numbers. These aren't actual numbers, right? But I'm just giving you an analogy. So here we are, 10,000, right? Now this gets back to the personification of things. I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about a little here, but I'm not going to go into detail. So he's only getting 9,000 now. So now we're in energy deprivation. That means he got 1,000 deficit, which you can transfer that as bad luck. That's negative energy. Negative energy is bad luck. For simplicity, we just call it bad luck, right? So, but we personify that, right? So at this point, we haven't personified it to Yakub standards, right? But there's people around, right? On every different kind of category, all right? But I put it this way. There's people that do good things, bad things, whatever, right? So bottom line is that here you attract a person, right? Negative energy, a thief or whatever, you attract those type of people. So instead of you having $1,000 worth of 1,000 units of bad luck, you got this person that steals 1,000 units from you. No misregard doing it. See, if we didn't have that, then it would be a disease or a famine or something like that, right? Everything's personified. See, but it didn't come in full focus until Dr. Yakub came along. See, but so there was people that fit that category, right? That was doing these type of things, like stealing, whatever, right? So anyway, that might confuse the people. Anyway, the bottom line is that you got somebody around, right, that's going to cause you 1,000 units of bad luck. You see? Because you produce that person. That's the consequence of your negative energy. Produce that person. So that's how it's balanced. So you have people around you that's going to cause bad things for you. Maybe one person, 10 person. Say one person will cause 1,000. It could be 10 people. Each of them cause 100. Right? But the bottom line is you have negative people around you. See? They get 9,000 units also. Everybody gets the same amount. See? But these people cause negative problems for you. Hope you understand. See, because I see zero down here. That's a zero. At zero, that means you don't have any energy deprivation. At zero, that means you would have got everybody begin 10,000 units, and that's how much you need. So you're at zero. You don't have any negative, as long as you don't do. Let me say it this way. When you're at zero, that means you get 10,000 units and you require 10,000. So they're balanced. But you have to be disciplined. Because if you go out and say, well, I'm going to go and take 500 from someplace else, right? Now you generate self-imposed energy deprivation because now you produce that 500 negative units. You understand? So take discipline. So once you know there, they say, okay, discipline, which is the Bible calls righteousness, you have to live a certain way. So therefore, you won't have any problems. So if somebody does come and take 1,000 from you, get 1,000 back another way. So it's still going to balance. So you still walk tightrope, you ain't fall off. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I really sit down. But it takes me an hour, two, sometimes 3 or 4 hours to develop these. I don't just jump up and get on it. I have to develop these things. I have to put the graphics together, think about it, do research and everything else. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes it takes a couple of days to put a presentation together. You think it's easy, you try it. Okay, so say you move further. And we move further into deprivation, right? We start 50,000 years ago, it's very slight. Now we move deeper into it. So say, for instance, we 15,000 years into it, right? 35,000 years ago, right? So now you only get 4,000 units. You need 10,000. Right? So now you got 6,000 negative. So now you produce a 6,000 person. So you say this is where Dr. Yakub come in and say 6,000 years ago. So he produced a person, right? That's their value. They're negative to you. They're anti to you. They're contrary to you. That's where the word antichrist from. That's what antichrist, because he was in balance to the Christ. See? So he kept Christ at neutral. See? So if the Christ went to 1,000, he'd be negative 1,000. That's why antichrist. That happened in 1948, but we haven't got there yet. So now Dr. Yakub produced this person, right? And he brought this person in existence, but we don't want to create him. See, we personified. Well, no, we created consequence, but he gave a personification. Let me get it right. Dr. Yakub gave a personification, but our energy deprivation, right? The consequence and the energy deprivation was negative. He just personified it. If he had personified it, it would come another kind of coming from famine or sickness or disease. But since personified it, then you don't have those things, but you got them. You don't have disease, you don't have famine, you got him. You understand? Okay. So energy deprivation, the personification of our energy deprivation produced him. Produced them. And this just shows, right? It could be two people, each 3,000 apiece. There's just 6,000, or it could be, right? 6 people, each 1,000. But their whole nature is against you. Everything they do is going to cause you problems. They might even never meet you, not even know you. They may be a politician that came up with a law that caused you a problem. But their whole existence is to balance you out. Take 6,000 from you. See? Because remember, you need 6,000. You need 10,000. You're only getting 4. Right? See? So you're going to be doing other things. You'll still be getting food and stuff to make up for that. But that's going to cause you to produce other. Because if you just live with 4,000, say you get 4,000, you live 4,000 means that comes down, you're just drinking water, eating bread every day, and you sleep out in the cold and nothing else, then that's you cool. But that's your intervention is the fact you sleeping in that cold, you're out in the country, you're out there, you see them on the rats and roaches or whatever, you don't eat bread, see? So it took that form. See? But if you give it personification, now you're eating, you're drinking, you got family, everything else, but you got all these troubles. See? People invading you, come in and causing you problems, and jumping you and stealing from you, because all these issues you have. So now you ain't out there like in the jungle laying around with the beasts and everything else. You still live in some kind of like civilized place, but you got all these problems you had before. People invading you, coming stealing from you, all kind of stuff. It still come out the same way. It's just the quality of it. So by personifying it, you can have a civilization. It might be a bad civilization, but you have one. The other way, you don't have nothing at all. Right? But you don't have the problems of a civilization. I hope I'm expressing this well, brothers and sisters, right? See, each one of those get 4,000 apiece because everybody gets the same amount. So now, you only get 2,000. Same thing, right? Now you got 8. All these problems you got now. See? And you got all these enemies, man. Right? And you got two of them now. You got each one 4,000. See? Or you can have eight, each one of 1,000, eight of them. See? So these 4,000, they come in and rape and kill. If you have eight of them, each one maybe just, they come in and steal from you and cause all kind of mischief and stuff. I mean, the level, the quality, okay? That means further you get away from zero, see, the more negative you get, further away from zero. There's an deprivation. See? And they on the side to balance it out. Then you get to 9. Wow. You're really in trouble. See? You got all kinds of bad luck, all kinds. You don't control yourself. You're in a Holocaust. You see? Your enemy, he's tearing you apart. You got total control over you. You have no control of yourself anymore. You got total control over you. You understand? It could be just one person, master, or it could be 9 people, each one 1,000 apiece. Or it could be one with 500, one 400, whatever. Right? But they're going to be your problems. They're going to be enemies. And you, if you want to understand, you know that you can't trust anybody that's around you because everybody's around you is going to be in that category. And no matter how they smile and everything else, no matter they think you're your friend, they're going to be betraying you. That's where you understand the mathematics of it. So you know that you ain't going to have no friends in that category. You ain't going to have no friend in that situation. Not one friend at all. Anybody try to pretend they're friend, they may stab you in the back. Because you know you got 9,000 worth of negative, bad luck and everything, and the people that smile and everything, you just want to watch out the most. Because you know nobody's bringing you good. Everybody's bringing you bad. Somebody does come up and say bring you some good, 2,000 units of good energy, then you just create another person that's going to neutralize it. 2,000. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand energy dynamics. Now here's the punchline here. See here? He can punch you 9 times without bound. So if you say each punch is worth 1,000 units of negative energy, right? Each punch is worth 1,000. I mean, he can punch you 9 times, no consequence. Because that's what you got. Remember, that's the nature of your energy deprivation. Is 9,000 units just coming in terms of punch. It can become a whipping. Right? They come in all kinds of forms, force you to eat shitlings or whatever. So he can, I'm not trying to give it simple. He can punch you 9 times. If each one punch is worth 1,000 units, he can punch you in the face whatever 9 times without any consequence. Mathematically, he has the ability to do that. There's no consequence to him because he's the 9,000. You got 9. He's a personification of 9,000 bad luck, negative energy. So no consequence to him by doing that. See, the cross and it could be so bad. I'm using these numbers, but it could be so bad, like the Bible in the cross says, right? It could be like 1,001. So he can punch you 1,000 times, beat the hell out of you, with no consequence, because that's how bad your energy deprivation situation is. I'm just usually keep it simple numbers like this. This is very important. You understand this concept? He can do all this stuff to you with no consequence. That's why the Bible says, why should we keep worshiping you? I said, you see, the evil people, they do all kind of evil stuff with no consequence to them, and we suffering, and we doing what you tell us doing. We paying. See, because this person over here, he's living a righteous life. This 10,000, but the kid's all as hell. This person over here doing a wicked life, and it's no consequence. You understand the mathematics of it? He's suffering all these negative consequences. He living a righteous life. That one on the right over there, he's suffering. He ain't suffering anything. He's doing all this evil, beating up everything, and he no self-consequence at all. Because that's the balance. That's the balance. Hope you understand that, brother. So if you don't, please contact me if you can, if you're really interested in understanding it. Now watch this one. If he punch you 10 times, remember, he can only punch you 9 and no consequence. If he punch 10 times, that means you can punch him back once. That's the balance. You can punch him back once because he went overboard. With no consequence, he could 9 times. But if he do 10 times, right, then you kick back 1 time. For every 10 he do. Right? That's the balance again. Yeah, so I'm trying to get a little more detail, a little more complex here. So you can retaliate, but you can retaliate up to this point. without any consequence. See? Okay, let's move on here. So he has 9 times your power. 9 times your power. See? While we was in Holocaust, they're like 100 times our power. 100 times our power. We had no powers before them. They could beat us 100 times. If you say one beating was worth 1,000 units, right? And they're 100 times more. That means they could beat us, right? Let me say it again. If their power is 100 times more than ours, right? See, because I'm saying 9,000 here. That would be 9 times. But what if that was 90,000? That's 10 times more than that. It means, and there's no consequence. They can beat you, torture you, and everything else. No consequences now. See, no consequence because because they was just being the personification of the hell we were suffering. So if they wasn't there, we'd still be suffering. It'd just be a different way. We'd be starving to death, disease. But now it's them, and they personification of it, so they can get away with it. Long as in this situation here. But look at this. Now we get back to 1948. We're back to zero. No more energy deprivation, right? That means he had no power anymore. See? So we had balance though. But see, if he punches you, you can punch. He punch you one time, you punch him one time back. He punch 2 times because balance. So anytime he hits you, you can retaliate in kind. That's the balance. But if you hit you one time, you have 2 times, and he owe you one. You understand, brothers and sisters? See? Let's get back to self-imposed energy deprivation, because at 1948 they had no power over you anymore. Only if you suffer energy deprivation. Or if you go overboard, that means now so in other words, if you punch him more than he punched you, then now he can punch back. But it don't come that way. You take a different form. In other words, you're taking welfare from him. You're taking this from him. You take all these different things from him, right? See what I'm saying? He promised you reparations. He'll give you this check, $1,000 check. Right? And you got a party, and you went to go all these stupid movies. So you take you're enjoying all this false, right? But that's taking energy from him. He's producing this, and you consuming it. He producing this false reality, this American dream, you consuming it. So therefore, you building the negative that he can take and rule you with. Self-imposed energy deprivation, because everything causes energy. So if you consuming this reality, that's why you got to break free it all together. If you consume it, that means you taking energy from him. That means that he can use that. Now, that means he can retaliate the way he wants to. So you taking that bull, you taking a shit farm, he coming back the way he wants to. He come back ruling. So you're taking the bullshit, you're taking all the entertainment and everything else. You taking the energy of him in the form of entertainment. He's retaliating with ruling you. That's where he's forming his energy, ruling you. I hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. Because anything you take out of here, you take it from him. That's the balance. So he has no control of you anymore. But he can give you stuff. If you take it, it's like, right? You punching him because you're taking something from him. So now he can punch you back to the extent you punch him. But I'm trying to show you, we don't use punching. Your punch is, remember, punch, you're taking something from him. So man, you assume you consume his reality, his movies, his partying, and all this stuff that he's giving you. You take energy from him. That energy he produced, you taking it. You understand? You taking that other energy from him. Everything he got way out here, these jobs, you take energy from him. Right? So the consequence means you owe him energy. So energy, but he takes energy in the form of ruling you, controlling you. Do you understand, brothers and sisters? Energy dynamics. That's why we got to break free. Break free. That's that gravitational vortex. Because as long as you keep on They said you got use it. What the Bible says, you got to break free this world. You got to, right? Because you stuck. Because every time that means you stuck in the gravitational vortex. He loves you to take the stuff. Yeah, here, free this, do this, man. Oh, I'll give you a job over here. American dream, all this, get a mortgage. See? Buy a car. So you're still buying from him. See? So you take energy. Remember, it's balance. He can't punch, you can't punch. If he punch you punch it back. It's equal. See? So if you take energy from him, then he can take energy back from you, the same amount of energy you took from him, give back him. But it's up to him to determine what form of energy is going to be. So he take energy in the form of ruling you, you took energy in the form of bullshitting, right? Partying, hanging out, fornication, taking drugs, that kind of stuff. Do you understand? Hope you understand, Bella. That's a powerful concept. I'm getting close to trying to teach you more and more and more. I mean, I can go much faster, but I can't go too fast because I'm losing you. You understand? Now, we got past energy deprivation because a lot of you end up in tribulation for energy deprivation because you didn't get that concept. So you still caught in the gravitational vortex, trying to hold these mortgages and all that kind of stuff. So you didn't break free. So now you're going to the tribulation period, right? Where it's clear. So now you got to clean yourself up. You got to go ahead and divorce yourself totally from this reality there, like your last chance to do it. Break gravitational vortex, so now you're ready to go home. Because you can't go back to home with that mentality. You understand what I'm saying? Some of you don't matter because you're the reason why people going through this stuff because you was blocking this information. So yeah, we want you to come back on our side so we can tear your ass up because we're going to deal with you. You understand? No forgiveness for you. Because those who the stone falls on is crushed. Those fall against the crown is broken, the stone. We trying to save our people. You out there bullshitting with your Eric and Seventh Angel and those demons, Farrakhan, those folks, right? Remember, now the fire, remember, they the same as their devil fathers. That's what you got Farrakhan there for. You see? Because you know, he's the one taking from you again because you give him the energy to do it. You give him the energy to do it. See? You start realizing how much teaching, then he had no power. He had no power. He just like the rest, he had no power. You give him the power with self-imposed energy deprivation. Because from 1948, they had no control. But you have to have discipline. Discipline. Before I go here, let me say one last thing about this. Because I think I really actually didn't put the graphic there. I think I forgot it. So let me put this and say it. See, this war is a mind war. They don't understand that way, right? But we're about to see this energy burst. It's already happened. We're about to start receiving the benefits of it. See? So for them, right, so it's balanced right now, right? So when you go to the tribulation period, right? If you discipline yourself, because that's what Suleiman going to teach you, and I'm go ahead and do it because I reluctantly mess with you. Because you rejected me, you pissed all over me, you pissed all over like Muhammad's teaching and everything else. And I already been through this down this road with Master Muhammad on y'all behinds because I don't even bother. Anyway, I'll give you that information. And that's what's going to make the difference because it's the tribe of Levi, that's the NOI, that's Elijah Muhammad's people, right? They got to go back and because that's what they're supposed to been doing this 42-year period. Helping Suleiman prepare our people, Lazarus, when he wakes up. So you found no heavy harm. You're going to walk through this tribulation period because you understand mathematical balance. But if you go in there and start trying to fight with them like the demon's going to do, all that kind of stuff, then you're going to have you're going to get the power to take you out. And I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to explain to you very clearly. Because you're going to have to apply this knowledge, the 5 fundamental principles of Islam, you have to apply all this thing I'm telling you to prove that you're worthy to get. And the only way you're going to find it, the only way you're going to make it out anyway, is you're going to have to apply that. Otherwise, they're going to see. Like Elijah Muhammad, he gave you a little hint. He said a time will come when you be walking down the street and they're spit in your face. Somebody just spit in your face. And he says, what happens is there'll be a whole bunch of devils hiding in the alleyway, hoping that you react so they can all kill you. He said, that time comes, wipe it off. He was going to give you a little hint there, right? Don't, because that's your very reaction. Oh man, retaliate. No, you don't want to do anything. You're going to walk through there, just mind your business. It's going to be hell, but you're not going to get in confrontation with them. But the demons are going to do it. Okay? Now, remember, on their case, it's a one-to-one situation. This is a numbers name, right? Okay. Now, during the Holocaust, it was like 100 to 1. They could punch 100 times, right? If they punch 100 one time, we could hit back one time. They don't have no consequence. But they couldn't do it to each other. See? Because they was a one-on-one with each other. If you punch me, I punch back. So the justice was, they was just with each other, but when it came to just for us, the just scale was way up like this here. See? Oh, your master beat you 100 times. Oh, well, you deserve it. You beat 101 times. Well, why you beat him extra time? See? You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of justice with them. Why you didn't beat him 101 times? What was 100 times weren't enough? That's what justice was, because justice comes from the mind. I'm getting too deep here now, brothers and sisters. That's another subject. Oh, that's definitely another subject. Anyway, so that's it. Because what they did was just. See? But you understand, it was just because we were some intervention. So what they did was just, that's the balance. And mathematics are only concerned with the balance. And that was the balance mathematically. It was the quality of it that they're being punished for. See? We're going to suffer. We wouldn't have to suffer that type of suffering. We wouldn't have to suffer dehumanize. They'd have to do this. They're going to punish because they dehumanize us, and that you don't do. See? Anyway, because that's Holocaust. Anyway, the bottom line is they convict each other, one-on-one. See? So that's why demons they're going to go against, they think they're going to take America. First of all, they don't have the numbers. Remember, one-on-one, that means if your army is 1,000, other army is 1,000, right? They're going to fight to a standstill. But if one is 2,000, one is 1,000, normally the person 2,000 is going to win. See? So these demons, they think they're going to take America, but America, they outnumber like 20 to 1. And they're not going to be able to do it because it's a one-to-one thing. It's a one-to-one thing because they're the same people. They're the same people. But during that time, right? See, even when you walk through the tribulation, it's not going to be a one-to-one because you're going to have the energy burst, right? So it'll be like maybe a 3 or 4 to 5 to 1. That means if they hit you, right? You can hit them back 5 times harder with no consequence, but you don't want to do that because you got all your people. So that means if they hit you, that means it's going to be more devastating for them. You just move on. Unless you just have to. You're forced in a corner, you have to. But you're going to be, that'll say, at that time it says, one will chase 1,000, one will chase 2,000. Because the balance in your favor there. See, it balances in your favor now. But because you're self-imposed innovation, you're giving them the favor, you're giving them the power, you're giving them, you're giving them the advantage. Because you're doing it self-imposed deprivation. You stop doing that, and they can't be resting you, pulling you up, right? And beating you and shooting you down, all that kind of stuff. Because those people it's happening to, those people that's giving them, they gave them that power to do it. Because they're not doing stuff they had no business doing, right? Not running that tightrope, because we're not running a tightrope because it's because we were at 0. So we don't do stuff, that means they can't harm you any kind of way. But if you guys start doing stuff you ain't got business doing, then you're going to suffer the consequence. You have to understand the time you're in. That's why you understand the angel. Angel is a book for this time. See? So when demons go to war with them, they're going to be destroyed. They said they're going to be destroyed in that war. They're going to go in 5 months, they're going to be destroyed. And in Europe, same thing. You see, that's why we got one We got two of the prophets, Isa and Muhammad. See, Isa's job is, right, is destroy the power of numbers. See, because they're going to be trying to send as many men over to Europe to fight. Remember, for them, it's numbers. There's more people in you because the enemy's going to turn, their friends going to turn against them over there. So America's not going to have the numbers to fight over there. Plus, they're going to be distracted because we let them demons loose on them over here, right? They fighting each other. So now you're going to have, what, nearly 17 million demons. Look how many people, that's going to take many divisions of American army they could have over there, over here. So that means that destruction is even more guaranteed because that's a distraction. That's his job, to release those demons, right? See? So I'm not going into more detail about that. I tell you, but that you have to understand the mathematics of it. So they can't win because they're going against each other, but there's a one-to-one basis. See? Right now it's a one-to-one base first, basically, but with this, increase. Okay, that's the other point I wanted to make. When this energy, we're starting to receive the benefits of it, they're going to receive the benefits too. See? But what happens? They don't have the discipline. See, it's the reason why we're so in deprivation right now because they took discipline from us. So they'll have the energy, they don't have the discipline. See? So they're going to impose a form of self-energy deprivation on themselves because they lack of discipline. They're going to have the energy, but they lack of discipline, so they can do all kinds of things, right? See? Because they can't stop stealing and killing and all that kind of stuff. Okay, let me put it another way. We're not self-energy deprivation. Remember I said there's zero. I'll show you here at zero, right? Okay. So if they punch us once, we punch it back once, right? They punch us 10 times, we punch back 10 times equal, right? See? But then we go to positive. Let me show you that. I'm not really showing it clearly, but I'm going to see if I can explain it. I missed that slide. Okay, let me back up here a minute. See here, we're the positive. So we're going to have it, we produce ain't negative anymore. In other words, we only need 10, but we get 15,000 units a day. So that means we got somebody's going to come and give us 5,000 people giving us stuff, being nice to us. See? Better relationships. Men have better relationship with their wives, wives have better relationship with their husbands, better relationship. Because everybody's giving positive, so all you get is positive waves all the time. Every time they preach, you get more positive ways, right? But what happened to the devils? Right? Because they're gone here because we ain't produce them anymore. But they still exist though. See? So they have the energy, right? But they don't have the discipline, right? So they don't have discipline to not keep. In other words, they don't have energy, enough energy to walk in a righteous way, but they have discipline to do it. That means every time they do something, it's gonna come back down because like they punch somebody, man, they get 10 punches in the head. They have discipline. So they will keep doing stuff that's gonna cause. Let me say it another way. At this point in time, they hit us. Remember, at one time when they hit us 10 times and we couldn't return, no consequence. Then it got to 0. They hit one time, we hit one time, right? But once it go positive, right? If it hits one time, we hit it back 10 times. The reverse now. Hits one time, we hit it back 10 times. Hits 2 times, hit it back 20 times. You see, and it gets worse and worse as time goes on. So it hits one time and we hit it back 1,000 times. It's worse, it's reverse of what happened to us in the Holocaust, right? See? But see, they're so wicked, they ain't got the discipline to stop hitting us. They ain't got discipline to stop hitting us. They get their ass tore up. And they're going to start feeling some of this during the tribulation period. Even the ones that's walking through, right, that's going through the tribulation period, they're going to come there attack. I'm saying you don't have to do anything. They attack something. All kinds of bad luck stuff will happen to them. So they're going to start experiencing that then. Because they don't have discipline to say, oh, stop. I'm not going to hit him. I hit him, right? He's going to hit me 10 times harder. So, okay, well, let me say another thing. I'm just going to take my time here, bro, because there's so much stuff you talk about. But see, that was one of the things, the corrective factor. That's what angels into gods. Because we was going through the Holocaust, right? Okay. If we had to walk a very tight line. So if we did anything we did, in other words, like they had like 10-1 on us, right? Say they had 10-1. So if we hit them one time, hits back 10 times, right? So we hit them at all. Right? So they can still hit 9 times. Well, if we didn't do anything, so if we didn't do anything to them, right, they hit us 10 times and no consequence. Right? So if we hit them one time, it means they can hit us 11 times. Right? So we hit 0, so that's righteous, right? We righteous. We doing right thing. We doing all right thing. We doing right because that's the best you can be is discipline, right? And still get hit 10 times. Right? If you think bad about them, you hit 10 times. Anything you think bad about them is an attack on them, even if you're just thinking it. 10 times much bad luck. You understand that? See. So just to so you had to walk a perfect path just to keep the beatings down to 10. Because if you did anything, go up to 10, 20. So that took a lot of discipline. Because I want to keep our beatings down to just 10 times a day. Because if I react or don't smile or whatever Master tell me to do, I'm going to get 12 times a day. It's just that pressure, that tense pressure that was on us, that qualitative pressure, right? That made you think, control your thoughts, control who you were. That's what Holocaust did. It made us very disciplined. That's what Bible calls righteousness. It made us very super disciplined. That's what converts you from a coal to a diamond. Because diamond's super hard. They made it super hard. The more we had to do, we had to be very disciplined. Because if you broke a little bit, you get killed. If you broke just a little discipline, anything you broke out of it, you get killed, you get slaughtered, you get burned up and everything else. So the people that made it, because they had that super discipline. That's what converted us from coal into diamonds. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I hope you understand that. So that discipline is serving us now. Because the ones here now, see, our people left now, our people are very disciplined. They just don't have knowledge how to apply that discipline. So they've been told they do this, whatever. They're trying to destroy the discipline. They're trying to destroy the diamond that they actually made because they made us. It takes pressure to make diamond to make itself. They're the pressure that made us. But now they realize what they made. Now they're trying to, because you put diamond in fire, it burns just like coal. It's carbon. So now they're trying to unravel the process. Too late. Hope you understand that, bro. I've been covering a lot of stuff here. But I tell you, energy dynamics. You understand it? Okay, this is a short one here, brothers and sisters. Now I'm going to correct a thing. I say I've been letting it go, but I'm going to correct it since letting this lay out there, right? The scientists. Now we talk about Master Muhammad, not about Master Muhammad, but Elijah Muhammad. I don't think Master Muhammad talked about 24 scientists. Elijah Muhammad did. I don't recall anything less about 24 scientists. Because Elijah Muhammad, see, he assumed, now I know Master Muhammad told him about it, but he assumed, right? He talked about the scientists, but I'm not sure he used a number. Maybe he might have, right? I'm not sure, but I don't see it in the lesson. That's what I'm trying to say. But he assumed, right? Because in the Injil, talking about these 24 elders, he thought they were the scientists. Well, they're not. What you understand, Injil, they're not the scientists. It's 24 elders. Not 24 scientists. Not scientists at all. Because he made a lot of assumptions about Revelations. So he came to that number 24. And 25th scientist was the 360 degrees, wise in all of them. All of them had different degrees of knowledge, but the 25th had 360 degrees. Okay, he was at the center. So I'm gonna give you the mathematics on how that was that's determined, how it works, so you can make it. You can decide for yourself. See, there's actually 27 scientists, not 25. This is the way it works here. Remember, I showed you the Earth. The one is centered 360 degrees. The white represents the other scientists. Because you had the one center. That's the 25th scientist, the main one, right? He's actually 27th. And the other ones, that's the other scientist, that's the minor and major scientist. That's right around him. And then after that, right? Well, we got the Earth here, but that's the rest of the people, so forth, so on, right? Now let's go there and see if you need some math to understand, brothers and sisters. And when you go and count these little lines coming out of there, it's gonna be 20, it's gonna be 26. I believe it's 26, 25, something whatever. That's the way they set up and paid. I couldn't find when they had the number I want, so don't go and count and say, hey, that says something else, right? See, is this we're gonna just say it's 26, okay? I think it's actually 24 or something, 20, whatever. So I break it up. So I'm saying in the center right there, right, the black. Okay, we're going to do some calculations here. Now, you see these calculations here, it says pi d is the diameter. That's from one, how long these are spheres, not circles. Can't do this because we're spheres, not circles. Circles, it's graphic, right? So to determine the volume of a sphere, that's the calculation. Pi times the diameter, third power divided by 6. Right? So we're going to say the first is 1 unit in the center. So if we put that in there, well, 1 to the third power is still 1. So the value of that would be pi over 6. Okay. So now we want the next level. Now they got to be the same size as the one in the center. So that means if that diameter is 1, they have to be a diameter of 1 also. Okay? So if you go here, I don't know if you can see my cursor here or whatever, but if you go here, right, in the center, that'd be 1. And then from the center to the top, that would be 1. And from the center to the bottom, from the edge of the center to the bottom, would be 1. Edge to the center to the top. So that'd be 3 altogether. It'd be a diameter of 3 altogether. Because in other words, if you took, I should have did that. See that black one right there? If you took and duplicate that, you can put another one right on top of it, one on the bottom of it, and that would be cover the whole length. Right? So it'd be the same size. That would cover the whole length. So it'd be the diameter of 1 here, the one on top of it would be a diameter, right? Be 1. So altogether that'd be a diameter of 3. So the length would be 3. So you're going to find the volume of this whole thing, you have to use 3. So you put 3 in there, you come up with pi. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So you come with pi 27 over 6. That's down the whole thing. See? But you're saying, how many of those black dots can you get in that white space? See, there's how many scientists would fit in there. Because he represents the 25th to 27th scientists. So how many scientists could you fit in that white space? That was the one surround him, right? So what you do is, what happened here? So what you do is, first of all, you have to take the one in the center out. Because all you want to do is find how many pieces and you put in the space around them. So take that one out. That's what I did here. I subtracted the one in the center from the whole thing, and I get pi 26 divided by 6. See, and that's the volume of the whole thing minus the one in the center. Okay? So we say, how many black cubes, black spheres can you put in that space? Right? So what you do is you divide the one in the center by what's left, you get 26. That means there'd be 26 scientists there, not 24. And the one in the center would make 27. That's the correct number. So it's 13 major scientists and 13 minor scientists. And one in the center makes it 27 scientists. So I'm not going to let that sit. I let it sit because that's what people are saying. A lot of things, like it says, Elijah Muhammad nearly got the lesson correct. So you can. That's how they calculate it. Because one in the center, right? He has 360 degrees because he took all the pressure universe on him only because he's a center. In a star, if you look at a star, the center is the hottest part of the star. That means temperature is hottest. It moves faster. And then on the outside, you got circles. And the outside is cooler and cooler until you get to the surface of the star, which is much cooler than the center. Same thing here. So the one in the center is equal to pressure of the one on the next level, all the ones on the next level. So that one in the center, he's equal to the pressure of all of the 26 scientists that surround him. But they divide, it's 26 of them that take up that pressure. The pressure is equal. The pressure in that white space equals to the pressure in that black space. See? But it takes 26 to uphold that pressure. It takes one to hold that pressure in the center. That's why he's the 25th scientist. He's the wise why he got 360 degrees. The other ones, they got different all together to make up 360 degrees. See? That means some will have less, more, whatever. You understand that? So I thought I'd say that so some of you think about it, brothers and sisters. Okay, let's move on. We're about to close this out here. Okay, and we talked about this. I'm going to just briefly go over this again, right? That's the one in the center, right? First thing he did was develop this computer, right? This computer, perfect computer, to navigate through the universe, because at that time the universe was very simple. It's easy to calculate every atom, know where they are and everything, what they know, how they interact and everything else. Easy to do at that time for 25,000 year periods, right? So therefore you could anticipate what's going to happen before it, how things are going to be before they occur, right? And that's how you could develop the software, right, to deal with those situations, right? That's what scripture is, software to deal with situations. So you're given at a time a situation come up, you're given software to do it. Like right now, we're time unprecedented trouble, so you're given the AL-INJIL, that's the book to upload to deal the software to deal with this time. Quran won't do it. Quran was 1,400 years ago, but if you want to hold on to that, hold on to it, and see how we'll see how it works out for you. It ain't working out too well, right? As Sunnis, they haven't had a victory in 500 years. They've had a victory in 500 years. See? So those are the books that this computer produces, the scriptures. See? A 25,000 year period, four seasons, 6,000 years apiece. Okay. And it also used to navigate the universe. I explained that. I'm not going into detail here. These same computers do the same thing. And then, right? And then you come with a mind again. This is the mind that Dr. Yaqub gave them. This was what they brought into existence. Industrialized planet, which is bad for the planet because we do not industrial on this planet. We never did. See? We do off-world, off-planet. See? That's why they corrupt the planet. That's why I said those that God will destroy, those who destroy the earth. They're destroying the earth. To produce this technology, they got to destroy the earth to do it. That's why you got all these problems, all this climate control and everything else. They're destroying the earth because the earth was not designed to be industrialized. It's designed to be a garden. But this is the mind Dr. Yaqub gave them. That's God's cross. They think they're making a goodly manufacture. This has to be destroyed because it's destroying the planet. That's what happened. See, it's a battle of the minds. So you see this whole reality is crumbling, it's crashing, it's exploding before your eyes, imploding, exploding. See? Suleiman is making this happen because he's unleashing the power of the AL-INJIL. Whole arsenal of atom bombs. See, have your eyes, but you don't know where it's coming from. See all the leaves are blowing and the trees are swaying. But you don't know where it's coming from. See? I mean, it ain't coming from nowhere. The tree's going by itself. So where's that coming from? What's the power that's doing it? It's not no prophecy. Someone has to speak the prophecy. Prophet Muhammad just sit there and give a book to look at it. He had to speak it. Isa had to speak it. Have his people speak it after him. So this is the new reality we're bringing in, back to the earth and paradise. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. So paradise beginning will be a paradise end, increasing paradise, a paradise beyond imagination. See, and we still had the books. And we still be able to travel, and we traverse the universe. Okay, this is it, brothers and sisters. Mind war. Hope you understand, brothers. I covered a lot of stuff here. Mind war. It's all about the mind. You want, and the thing is, brothers and sisters, it's a glorious thing to be in this battle. Upload the angel. Get your, says sword will be like a two-edged, mouth will be like a two-edged sword. Get your weapon. Go to work. They can't defeat you. See? You're not so inch up face anymore, and you got the most powerful weapon in the universe. Break those atoms and watch your enemies cry, beg, and flee. It's a glorious thing, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. I think that's it, brothers and sisters. I think that's it. Yes, that's it. I'm going to leave there, brothers. We covered a lot of things. I think I covered everything I need to cover. Hope you understand. Remember, close out here, brothers and sisters. Close out remembering the Holocaust. Never forget it. Assalamu alaikum.